Okay, so here we are, another episode of the Brave Stories podcast. Today, we got Charlotte Pleasance. How are you, Charlotte?
Hello. I'm great.
Kia ora. Kia ora, Charlotte.
Kia ora indeed.
That's Maori for hello, if you don't know, because Charlotte is a fellow Kiwi living in Paris, and she's one of our besties.
Yes.
Yep.
She is. Yes, and there's not a lot of Kiwis actually in Paris, so we're quite special.
There isn't.
In that.
You should tell the story of how we and you first became friends, Janelle.
Oh, how I became friends with Charlotte.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we met through a cafe that we've mentioned on the podcast before, through Le Palais Cafe, through some people here. But I had known that she was a Kiwi for a while. And I was like, oh, this girl looks really cool. Like, I want to be friends with her. And we were in New Zealand for the COVID lockdown 2020. And at that stage, we didn't know each other yet. And I was there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to try buy her friendship. I'm going to bring her home some New Zealand treats.
Oh,
So I said to Joe, I was like, let's buy her something. And so we bought some Whittaker's chocolate, which is the most delicious chocolate in the world.
What is your favourite Whittaker's flavour, Charlotte?
Now I think it's berry biscuit.
That's a good one.
I didn't even know that existed.
Oh, really? It's like an equivalent if you're a Cadbury, if you know Cadbury, which is a British brand of chocolate. It's the same as the berries and fruit.
What's
that one? Dark Forest. Black Forest?
Maybe?
Black Forest?
Black Forest?
I can't remember.
Like
anyway, it's another
Love
very
that.
good one, but...
I just remember Janelle mentioning that there's a Kiwi called Charlotte at the cafe, and she really hunted you down as a friend.
Oh, cool.
I want you to know that. Does that make you feel good, or does that kind of freak you out?
This makes me think that when we all had that, we went to a dinner party and we sat next to each other. Now I think this was not an accident.
Probably wasn't.
It was purposeful.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that was probably the first time after we came back. But yes, anyway, that's the early days. Now
Those are the early days.
Progressed.
And now we've got you on our podcast.
Yeah.
We've gone to a whole new level of friendship now.
It's beautiful.
It's fantastic.
It also shows that if you see someone who you want to be friends with, you can just try and be friends with them. Hunt them down. Buy them chocolate.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, it's awesome to have you here, Charlotte, and we can't wait to get into your brave story. The people, there's probably been a catchy title on the episode. If we haven't even talked about that catchy title, that's in the future. What would it be if you had to put it out there?
Oh my gosh.
I'm putting you on the spot here.
How to I don't know. How to pivot with grace.
Love that.
I love that.
Professionally. How to pivot with grace professionally.
Yeah, something like that.
How to professionally pivot with grace.
That's a great
Yeah,
title.
I'm not
I
talking
love
about
that.
dance, actually.
No.
Yeah. Sounds a bit too dancey, doesn't it? So yeah, put the professional
Phenomenal.
in there. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're so looking forward to getting into that.
Yes, but
I
before
was
we
going to say
do...
fall gracefully, which was a bit pessimistic, so I changed pivot.
Pivot. That's such a good word.
Yeah.
It's a great word. It's also a very on-topic word. I feel like I've heard that a lot since COVID, about how to pivot.
Pivot. Just like Ross and Friends.
Yes, for all the Friends listeners out there. It's a great one. Okay, anyway, before we get into how to pivot like Ross
Gracefully,
professionally,
professionally.
we are going to start with our very famous, fun
Quickfire round. So, what we have, Charlotte, or Shasha, we haven't said that. Your nickname's Shasha. I hope you don't mind me saying that on this podcast.
It's alright. You can out me as a shasha.
Shasha. It's 4 quickfire questions. We're getting better and better at keeping this quickfire because the early rounds we'd call probably medium fire at best. But let's keep this quickfire. The goal here is to get to know you a little bit. You're ready. So let's go with the first question, Janelle.
Yes, we're going to start with a would you rather. This one.
Would you rather?
Would you rather? This one's a little bit random, but it's kind of just made us...
It's going to give us an insight into who you are as a person.
That is true. It will.
Go,
so,
Janelle.
Shasha, would you rather buy 10 things you don't need every time you go shopping, or always forget the one thing that you need when you go to the store.
The second one. I'm all about trying to pursue that vaguely minimalistic lifestyle. So I would prefer to not have a ton of stuff and hopefully help the environment.
I love that. See, that tells us a little bit about who you are as a person, and that's beautiful.
And anyway, I do often forget the thing that I need at the supermarket. So maybe I'm living this lifestyle already.
Yeah. The confusing thing there is, and I hope I'm not making this non-quickfire, is can you say you forget the thing you needed? When you go back to get that thing you needed, will you subsequently forget another thing? Do you know what I mean? Like, this is unclear.
Do you mean that you'll keep forgetting it?
Yeah, because you're going back to get the thing you forgot, but will you then forget another thing that you need?
Or you'll just never have this one thing.
Yeah, not
Who
sure.
knows?
Anyway, but thank you for that.
We learned minimalist lifestyle, which I think is great, and how we all should be heading.
Yes. Okay, the second question, quickfire question, Shasha, is who is your role model?
I thought about this one, and it's also, in case you have this question coming up, who I think is brave. Is that another question you guys asked?
Yep.
I'm a listener of the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I know. But my role model is my mum,
Awesome.
which is what I feel like a lot of people say their parent in some way.
It's beautiful. What is it about her?
Well, I think she's very brave. She's done a lot of kind of amazing things in her life. She's very adventurous. She herself came to Paris when she was 18. She lived in Japan in the 80s. London. She's traveled a lot. She's a journalist, so she's traveled to interesting places and written about them. She went to Antarctica. Wrote a book about it.
That's amazing.
Eh?
That is so impressive. She's probably one of the very few people who could then say that they've been to every continent in the world.
Yeah.
Has she?
If she's been to...
I don't know if she's been to Africa.
Oh, but she's ticked off
Maybe she's
Antarctica,
gonna be
which is
like-
probably the last one for a lot of people.
Exactly. That's the one that's hard for most people. So she could do it if she wanted to.
She could do it.
That's true. So, yeah, big role model.
That's awesome.
Big love to my mum.
Good on you, Mrs. Pleasance.
Well,
Love it.
Mrs. Griggs, actually. She kept
Oh,
laughing.
Griggs. Oh, I've seen F the patriarchy. I've just gone there and just said Pleasance. That's terrible.
Mrs. Griggs, shout out to you.
Yep.
Okay, amazing. Number 3, Shasha, do you have an irrational fear?
Yes. It's a weird one. It's really weird.
We like weird ones on this
Weirder the
podcast.
better.
I really don't like. It's really weird because I've never seen this except for like pictures or video, but it really grosses me out seeing a penguin that is in between like childhood and adulthood. It's like in its adolescent stage. And it's like half molted. It's like half
Oh, yes.
like feathers that are like flat.
Oh.
And
I know what you
half,
mean
like,
on that.
fuzzy feathers, and it just it repulses me.
Oh my
so
gosh.
much.
We're going to have to
I'm
put a
actually
photo
doing
of that up on our
Yeah.
Instagram because I don't really know what that looks like.
Yeah.
I have to search for
Well,
that.
yeah, it's gross.
I
so-
can picture that in my head, but we definitely need to put that up on our Instagram.
Yeah.
Do other birds or animals do that, and if
Probably,
so, is
but-
it only penguins?
I feel like it's specifically penguins because they're so fluffy as a child and then so sleek as an adult, and for whatever
Yeah.
reason I'm just like, oh, the in-between of like one or the other.
I guess that's unfortunately the thing for a lot of adolescents, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's an awkward stage for everybody, and including penguins.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if ever you were to step foot in a penguin colony, you would have to be very brave to face that irrational fear.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Okay, and the final question of the quickfire round is, Can you tell us a fun fact about you, Charlotte?
Yes. I had a think on this. I feel like, but it was really hard because I was like, I feel like I've got to make sure I, highlight how fun I am.
You are
I don't know. Yeah, thanks. So something that's been on my mind lately, I guess, is life in Paris. And I guess a fun fact about me is how I ended up in Paris, and that it was kind of basically just by accident.
Wow.
That I was kind of aiming to go to England, and then was staying with some family friends here, and they said, oh, there's a job going at this coffee shop that we go to, you should apply. And then I did, and then I got the job, and then I had a place to live, and I was like, oh, yeah.
Wow.
That's amazing.
So
And
I
how
guess
long have
that's
you
a
been
fun
here now?
fact.
Yeah.
7 years.
Wow.
Long time.
Wow. That is 7 years is a long time.
Long time.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
And that was a fun fact.
Can I tell you a fun fact about the coffee shop that Charlotte used to work at?
Well, this is not the same coffee shop that you
No, this is a different one.
You worked at multiple coffee shops.
This one
didn't
is
you?
Yeah.
Strata, is that
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Can I tell you a fun fact about this cafe?
Yes.
I went into this cafe when I first moved to Paris and actually met one of the other 50 Kiwis who live in Paris. No, there's a few more than 50, but not many.
Well, not much more than
But
that.
this shows what a small world New Zealand is. I met him and started chatting, realised that we grew up in the same area in New Zealand, kept chatting. His dad was one of my family doctors, and we lived on perpendicular streets in New Zealand.
Of course you did.
And I was like, if that doesn't say New Zealand, what does?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. They say there's only 2 degrees of separation in New Zealand, right?
Yeah.
So everyone knows someone who knows someone.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. Yep.
Incredible.
Which is incredible.
Which is another fun fact to add on to your fun fact.
Yes.
Thank you for your
So
fun
many
fact.
fun
Thank you.
facts.
Thank you for that, Charlotte.
Thus endeth the quickfire round, which we kept reasonably quick
We
this
did
time.
very
Janelle.
well. We are going to continue kind of in the conversation that you finished with, though, Charlotte, about being in
Seamless
Paris.
transition.
It was going to be seamless, yeah.
I
Thank
called
you
it
for
out.
calling. Now it's not. Now there's some seams in it, but that's okay. Also, side note, I feel like the last time that I spoke, I was also very stuffy, and today
yes.
it's also bad.
You're a
So
little
I'm-
stuffy.
I'm
But that's
sorry,
okay.
listener. It might not sound so nice in your ears today, but
It's fine.
maybe you can just do more talking.
Okay. So, to continue our seamed transition, Charlotte, you're talking about arriving in Paris, right? I'm not sure how you're going to do this transition. Sorry, you should take over again.
It's getting there's more and more seams.
I think you had
being
something
put
in mind.
place.
Okay, do it.
Unfortunately, Joe could not read my mind in that moment, so we're back to me talking about this. So, yes, Shasha, you moved to Paris 7 years ago. You were working in a coffee shop. Kind of you didn't plan to come to Paris. It just happened, and the job just happened. And I guess what we're going to talk a bit about today is a brave story that you're currently on, which is really cool. And I mean, we'll talk a lot more about that, but what we think is really brave. Well, how I would like to start off the podcast is first saying that we are really thankful to have this conversation with you, and we think that you are very brave to talk about this while you're still in the middle of it.
We do.
And that's what we really appreciate, and we think is such a big part of bravery, is being able to speak about stuff in the middle. So firstly, just wanted to say that. But yeah, at the start, it was kind of by chance, I guess, that you ended up in Paris, and then you got your first job. What happened after your first job in a cafe? Because today we're talking a bit about career-wise, right?
Career transitions.
We talked about this pivot in career, and your first career job here in Paris was by chance. So what happened after that? Can you talk us through?
Oh, the journey. Oh my gosh. So I essentially gradually started working at an international high school here. I started just teaching like an after school club, the theatre, because at the same time, and still to this day, I do a lot of work in the theatre in Paris. So I've helped put on theatre festivals and theatre events, and had a theatre company, so much theatre. And so through that connection, I met someone who worked at the school who got me the job teaching at the after school club. And then eventually they wanted to add theatre to the the main curriculum in middle school and high school. And so I started working gradually full-time because of that. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good way to sum it up, I think. I did that quite well, I have to say.
Yes. You did very nicely. Awesome. And so that was, until recently, that was your job. You were working full-time in an international school teaching drama, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah.
And so that is another a big area of Charlotte's life that we kind of didn't really touch on in the Quickfire Round, I don't think.
Talk to us about that, because you get a sense just from hearing you that the theatre and the acting and stuff is your passion, right? Has it always been like that?
Yeah, I mean, it's what I was really passionate about in high school, and then I did my degree in, as well as anthropology. And then I was in a theatre company in Wellington in New Zealand. And so it's something that's always been a driving force behind choices that I've made in my life. And it's a large part of what's kept me in Paris, I think, is that the city caters to, is supportive of artists, I think, in general. So there's a real hub and community for people who are creatively minded. So painters or musicians or poets, all that. So that's, I think, this city really fosters this creative energy. There's a real hum for it. Yeah.
Totally.
That's what has kept me and helps drive me, I guess, in my life. Yeah.
Amazing. And so you started in a cafe in Paris. You start working in a school as a drama teacher. Can you talk to us about sort of like that? What made you want to, I guess, transition away from that? Like, what was it in your life that you thought, this is not for me? If I can ask that as directly as that.
I think it's tricky because I think I'm still trying to figure that out. I basically was presented with an opportunity that would allow me to comfortably leave my job, and that was that occurred about this time last year, actually. And it was quite a busy time to make that choice because I was putting on a massive show, well, 2 shows, and performing in one, and producing both of them. So it was a kind of hard time to make a choice that was going to affect my path, but I took it because teaching hasn't necessarily always been a passion of mine. That being said, it's something that I did really enjoy. Like, I do really love I think just generally working with people, so it caters to that. But overall, I think I'm interested in finding out other opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, that's awesome. So a year ago you were presented, I guess, with the opportunity to leave your job if you wanted to, essentially. So it's not So in how it works in France as well, as we have this thing which is essentially a permanent contract, and if you had, like, they're kind of considered like the holy grail in France.
Yeah.
Because this permanent contract that you get, it allows you to do a lot of things. So you can't, for example, to move apartments or to buy an apartment or, I don't know, lots of different things, right? If you don't have this permanent contract, it can be very difficult. So a lot of people work to get this. They have quite an intense trial period, and then you get this permanent contract. And once you have it, there is a real culture in France of you're safe, you can just relax now, chill,
and
enjoy all your holidays, and you stay for a really, really long time. Right? Yeah. That's like kind of the culture here.
Totally. And as foreigners, that's been a really interesting thing. And I mean, one question I'd have around that, Charlotte, is like, have any sort of like people you know or French people sort of been like, why would you leave a job? Even if you don't like it, you should stay in your job. Have you encountered that or not so much?
Actually not so much, because I think the circles that I and we run in are either expats or creatively minded people that understand the choice that I've made, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's cool. That's good to hear.
Yeah, that's really good. Because I think that's definitely something we've noticed here, is that a lot of the time people make decisions based on this security and safety versus necessarily on something that they really feel passionate about and they love. And
how did you, I guess, that's a really good point, because how does that kind of combination work in your mind, Charlotte? Like, did you think about, like, is security something that you were like, oh man, I'm giving this up? Or did you feel like it was just the right situation in terms of having this opportunity to, like, take the time?
I think it's the latter, that I mean, didn't have and I'm gradually finding more of a plan now, but the security that leaving the job offered meant that I have enough time to think about what to do next. So I've been investing my time in upskilling.
Whoa.
So I've been taking, quite intensive French classes, which I can speak French, but I learned it orally. So a lot of grammar has passed me by. So it's been great to get into that. And also trying to test the waters in other fields of work, I guess, which has been helpful as well. See if I like it.
Really cool.
Sort of thing.
So just to clarify, so in France there is another great thing about this permanent contract, that if you're on a permanent contract, they can't just say goodbye. And so, for example, in your situation, they were overstaffed. They had too many people. They had too many staff, and so they just sent out pretty much this open call to anyone saying, we have too many staff. If anyone wants to leave, you'll essentially get paid out to leave.
Yeah.
To leave your contract. So it wasn't like you were fired or anything like that happened. It was a choice of they needed to get rid of some staff because they'd made, some bad staffing decisions or something. I don't know, they've hired too many people.
Well, no, it was because of COVID, because it was an international school and there were less families coming to live in Paris. So they didn't need as many teachers.
Right. Interesting, yeah. And so in France, I guess this is maybe why we would say that this is a brave situation versus stupid. We kind of did it. We did the brave and stupid about this a while ago.
Is that
when you decided to leave, you weren't leaving with no security at all. Like there is actually something in place in France where you have 2 years, is that right? Where after you have this you have this permanent contract, you receive support and you can train in that time and you can upskill to then find another job. So
totally.
So it's actually a really awesome opportunity here.
It is.
That's really great.
And we did, as you said, we did do a Brave or Stupid segment on an earlier episode about this very thing, about is it brave or stupid to leave your job with no plan? And maybe you listened into that, Charlotte. And we weren't specifically talking about you. But I think what's cool, like maybe you can speak to this a bit more, but I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it seems like you took that jump because at least, you knew that you had the support to do it. Like, do you think you ever would have done it if you didn't have that support?
I don't know. I do not know. Probably not. It's like, I think the fact that, there has been the support of not having to kind of scramble for odd jobs and actually, having the time to be able to, do classes and explore other opportunities did mean that I was like, okay, I don't exactly have a clear plan, but this great system is in place that allows you the time and space to think about that next step.
Super cool.
If you were to articulate in one sentence why you chose to eventually take up this opportunity and leave, what would it be?
Well, I took the jump to have the time to upskill, to be able to pivot.
Yes.
Nice.
Is that a good sentence?
That's fantastic. I took the jump to have the time to upskill, to be able to pivot. Fantastic. Quote Charlotte Pleasance, 2022. And that's a fantastic way actually to finish this first half of the episode. We're going to go to a break. There won't be an ad because we still don't have ads yet. But one day there'll be an ad there. And we're going to come back. There's going to be a little bit of music. Then we're going to come back and we're going to continue talking to Charlotte, dive further into this whole story. And it's going to be great. See you soon.
See you soon. Okay, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that little musical interlude.
Yes.
Of our fun. Actually, do you know, side note, I would love to hear what you think about our little theme song.
About our theme song, yeah. Let us know.
If you're enjoying it.
Oh.
Yeah, so how do the people let us know?
People in general. You can let us know as well, Charlotte, if you want to, but people in general. Let us know on Instagram at braveandlucky.life.
Yeah. Shall we each give our best rendition of the theme music, if I can remember it?
Yeah, okay.
I can't remember it.
But, oh my gosh.
You probably just heard it, so that sounds really weird.
Oh my gosh.
That was super weird.
Without any listening. I mean, I should know because I've listened to it so many times when I edit.
No, they sound like Kim Possible.
It's kind of it, though.
The wheels are falling off. We need to get back to it. Charlotte.
Pivoting. Enabling Charlotte's phrase. We finished off before talking about how you decided to leave your job to give you the time to enable you to upskill. To enable
time
you
to pivot.
It was a weird sentence.
Basically, there was time. The keywords were time, pivot, and upskill. Enable.
There were 4 keywords.
Yeah. Time, enable, upskill, pivot.
Yeah, which are great. So, Charlotte, at the time when you left, did you know where you wanted to pivot?
No.
Awesome. That is great. And that is very
That's a very
cool.
clear and simple answer to that question. So thank you.
And how about now, a year later? Do you know where you want to pivot?
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's a year later. That's crazy. Kind of, maybe. I
On
feel
the
like
track.
I have a little bit more of an idea. I feel like I still have some exploration to do as well. Like, yeah, I'm interested in various paths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you
So,
talk us through can you talk us through your process of trying to explore different options to pivot? Have you had like a kind of a process, or has it just been about trying stuff and seeing what's cool?
Yeah, I think so. I think one of the things that I would like to have like on the CV and in practice is a higher level of French, so that I can be more easily employed by French companies or international businesses here in Paris, because it's obviously such a central hub in Europe and the world. So being able to say that I'm truly bilingual is a big thing for me. So I have been spending a lot of time doing French classes to try and especially get my written French a lot better. And
That's so good.
yeah.
And correctly use the subjunctive.
Oh,
I'm still working on that one.
that's hard.
Yeah.
I think that's when you know you've made it. But I'm pretty sure you already do, Charlotte. You use the correct subjunctives.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, easy.
My French teacher might disagree, but she always has corrections to make. So it's all right.
It's a very
It's all
hard
right.
language.
Yeah.
But you are doing amazing in that. That's awesome. So that was one of the main areas that you've upskilled, right? And going full out in French. Is there anything else that you've done?
Yeah, I mean, with a few of my theatrical endeavors, I was kind of developing skills of online marketing, or especially with Instagram and even blogs. And so I was kind of getting into video editing with that theatre company, Tapitat Theatre. And then I used those skills to reach out to a person in my social circle, which is what a lot of the, job seeker things say. Like, well, talk to people in your circle. I was like, all right, great. Who do I have in my social circle? So I know someone who's got quite a popular podcast. He can only dream to be as popular as Brave and Lucky, though.
Oh, man. I hate to break it to you, but I think he's a bit more popular.
For now.
For now. We're coming for you, man.
Yeah, but I reached out to this guy, Oliver G., who's got a podcast called The Earful Tower, to see if I could help him in any way, and I listed off all the various skills that I have, and he said yes. So I've been kind of dabbling and writing blogs and helping work on the website and doing behind the scenes stuff that's largely online, which is a cool skill to have as well.
Very cool skill to have.
Those are some upskilling things.
I'm interested to know, Charlotte, with those things, like you talk about French, you talk about kind of marketing type things, right? That you're doing with Oliver. Have you do you feel like you've taken skills from your previous experiences into that, or is it all fresh?
No, I think I'm taking a lot of experiences that I've had elsewhere into it. Like being a teacher, if you have as many students as I had like 200 students. You have to be very organized.
Yes.
Keeping track of where you're at with the different classes or email communication, or I don't know, just even like paying attention to your schedule, with additional meetings and whatever it is, with communication skills with children, with adults, with parents. I feel like a lot of that I've brought into, these new fields in my life. So yeah,
that's awesome. And because
I feel like this is turning into a job interview.
Yeah, we're just really trying to hone in to see if. Yeah,
Joe's had so many job interviews in his lifetime. He's like got all the questions down.
Tell us about a time when those are the worst questions.
No, so because when you were talking, like I was just thinking a bit about, talking about theatre, because that's such a big passion of your life. And what's interesting is when you talk about it, it's not just the acting, because obviously you're an amazing actor. Or here, this is a question. Do you now just say actor for everyone, or would I still say actress?
Yeah, I don't mind being called an actor. I don't actually know I don't have an opinion on the discussion, I have to say.
Oh, okay. That's great. I just had this thought the other day, and I was like, I don't actually know about this. I needed to ask somebody. Anyway.
I guess it's like the fact that you don't say female doctor. You know?
True.
And
you say
doctress. It's not like, we don't say doctress, or we don't say teacher, or
that's true.
Whatever.
No, that's true. Okay, great. That is perfect then. I said it right. That you're an amazing actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. And we can vouch for that because we have seen her perform in multiple Shakespeare plays.
Multiple.
But that's not just, your passion isn't just in the acting, it's also in a lot more of that, in the marketing and the production and the stuff like that. So I guess it is such a big, like, theatre is such a big passion in your life. Is it the acting part? Because when you were talking about other stuff. Is the acting the main passion, or is it more just like the world of theatre that you just love?
Yeah, I think it's the world. I think I really do enjoy the process of learning a part and unpacking the character, and the rehearsal process, and then obviously the performing, the performance itself is something I really have always loved. But it was a reality that I was faced with in Paris, that if I wanted to perform in work that was in English and was of a quality that I thought was really good, I was going to have to make it happen myself. Because there is definitely international theatre happening here, but there wasn't really any Shakespeare. And so I kind of saw a niche for that in the Paris
scene. Gap in the market.
Yeah, gap in the market. And decided to kind of make something happen. And so I guess the two worlds have kind of been intertwined for my theatre life here in Paris, that if I want to perform in something, I'm gonna have to make that something.
Yeah.
Which is great. I mean, it's not great that you don't have the opportunity, but it is great that you've made the opportunity for yourself. You haven't waited for something.
If the door is closed, just open it. I've
no,
that
what
one?
about if the door's closed? Build a new one. Make a window. Build a window.
Climb in through the window. Go you, Charlotte.
So profound.
Charlotte, so with that in mind, we want to talk to you about this thing you've started called Tapitat Theatre, right? Tapitat Theatre. And so I just want to start by painting the listener a picture of an event, which this was, that Janelle and I went to.
Which is just one of the events.
Which is one of the events, and you'll tell us more about it.
Because we've only known she's run one of them.
One of them. But picture this, listener, you're in Paris, you walking along, you go to this little art gallery vibe. It feels so cool and underground, and there's such cool people dressed so smart. And then there's a big room with lots of seats, and there's a carpet, a Persian rug in the front, and we were there, and we saw essentially a series of theatre performances on the rug, on the tapis, and that's what you've started. Tell us more about it. Please tell a better story than I just told, because it really went off track.
I don't know if I can match that. It was exceptional.
Was that good?
Really painted the scene.
Yeah.
We just missed the curtains behind. There were
Curtains behind.
Very light.
And someone's Irish father serving drinks.
Hannah's Irish father, indeed.
Yes.
Yep. Well, yeah, I mean, that was a similar thing. This is what, like, Tapitat Theatre came before Signet, which is the company that put on Shakespeare with. And I literally started it out of my lounge in my apartment back in, I think it was 2017. And I lived in quite a big apartment that had a really big lounge. And I thought, I don't know how to perform in theatres here yet, so I'm going to make a theatre out of my lounge. And so we had a lot of rugs in the apartment, and I decided, okay, the name should be Tapitat. Tapi means rug, kind of rolls off the tongue a bit, and the stage will be a rug, and it's the whole idea is that it's a scratch night. A scratch night is a night where you're meant to try out new ideas, characters, scenes, plays, in front of a live audience. So it started in the apartment, and then it gradually grew to the art gallery that you speak of, and then ultimately it grew to Signet Theatre, because that was really, for me, the ultimate goal was to try and meet a interesting range of people who were talented and dedicated to theatre, to be able to form a theatre company with, which is what happened. I put on another Tapi night earlier this year. It was really lovely to bring it back after basically a 2-year hiatus, as like a way to, bring people together and celebrate different forms of theatre, basically. Yeah.
It's
absolutely
awesome.
Amazing.
It's so cool. And I think one thing that inspires me a lot about you, Charlotte, and what you're doing right now in this season is that you're kind of in a waiting season, in a sense, of you're trying to discover what you really want to do, and you're kind of trying different things, and you've got lots of different talents, so it's not like it's kind of not a problem of finding what you're good at, because you actually are good at a lot of different things. It's finding what you actually really want to do. But what I think is really amazing, and I think that this is something that we can all kind of learn in the waiting season, is to not waste the wait.
Yes.
And to not waste that time, because time is such a gift, and we have such a limited amount of time, and I personally believe that because we have such a limited amount of time on Earth, it's not worth staying in jobs that we don't really love, and it's also, it's important to make the most of the time. And of course there's seasons where things might be a little bit slower. You don't always have to be doing stuff to receive like successes, maybe how we would instantly. Yeah. But I think what's amazing is that you've used this time to create opportunities for yourself, which is awesome, and to work on different things that you are passionate about, such as Tapitat Theatre and also Signet. You have two. You've started two different. At least no. Haven't you also done a third? I think you've third theatre thing in Paris as well, which is amazing. And you've taken the time to upskill as well, which I think is just such a such an impressive thing to do with the wait.
Thanks, Janelle.
I kind of want to. You're welcome. I think it's something we can all learn how to do, the waiting season.
It's very inspiring.
It is. I like to kind of pivot a little bit, because that's the theme of the. Do you know?
Are you going to pivot gracefully though?
Yes, pivot gracefully.
Good.
Pivot. Do you think that we could buy? Do you think we have to buy the Ross soundbite?
I think we should. I think maybe we've been including that throughout this episode.
Oh, maybe we have. Every time we've said pivot, it's been Ross yelling, pivot! That would be awesome if it was. Anyway, I am going to pivot to ask you a different question. So when you decided to leave your job, that was a brave step. And then ever since then, you've been living out your brave story. And that's the thing with bravery. It's like bravery is a moment, but it's also like
a daily decision.
Daily decision. Exactly. That's it. That's quotable. Bravery is a moment and a daily decision.
Oh my gosh.
Brave and lucky for the bravest days of your life.
Yeah, come on.
Yes, come on. Love it. But yes, you've daily been living brave. What has been the hardest part in the last year of not... Yeah, well, what has been the hardest part for you in the last year?
Oh, now coming at me with the hard questions. I think it has ultimately been the fact that I don't have a clear direction in mind, which is strange for me because I think even though my life in Paris is kind of a mistake, I feel like I've always had a pretty clear driving force behind the choices that I made, and yeah, I think that's been a tricky part, is that I haven't fully landed on a clear step to take, even though I've still been doing various things. It's about kind of locking in that choice, I guess, is what's been hard.
Yeah. And it's so cool getting to chat. I mean, that's really what this podcast is all about, is like chatting to people who not only, it's great when you've got on the other side of it, but it's even cooler when you're in it and you're able to talk about it. Yeah. I always think that's the most inspiring stuff.
For sure.
And I think what's so brave is just, often it's like, you think about bravery or courage as like maybe in a moment where you have to, I don't know, speak or publicly or do something crazy. But also what I love about your story is that it's about giving yourself enough time. It's about stepping away from something in a sense. That's what's taken brave. Not almost stepping into something, but stepping away and giving yourself time.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, and also I think it's it is really brave to give yourself the time to really self-reflect as well, because I think so often we actually don't know ourselves that well, and particularly when we choose to live a busy life, which is kind of the normal now, of just like hustle and get a job and work hard, and then you have your passions, and then you go to work, and then you do your fun thing, and then you whatever, and you don't really take time to truly know
and reflect
who you are, and whether it's actually what you're doing is giving you meaning, and it is giving you if it's giving you meaning for your life or not, or and that can be something that's really scary, is to actually take the time to like think, am I doing something with my life that I really find meaningful? Or sometimes those questions can be scary, and so to be able to take that time to actually think about it and to be okay in the uncertainty is really great, because life's not full of certainties. It's and no matter what you decide to do, you have a whole nother year to make a decision. No matter what you decide, maybe you decide to go back to teaching, and hey, that would be totally fine. It's not like it's been wasted time, but that's I think that's cool.
Amazing. Well, Charlotte, I think we're coming to the end of this episode, and it's been fantastic. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Fantastic. The way we always love to finish these episodes is that, obviously, Brave and Lucky, as you mentioned earlier, underwear for the biggest days of your life. It's not a business yet, but it will be soon, hopefully. Courageously. Thank you.
She is a true listener.
Charlotte's a true fan.
True fan.
We like to finish it this way. You're currently walking through your brave story. What underwear do you need to help you walk through it?
I don't know. find comfort in uncertainty, or
I love
is
that.
that good?
Yeah, that's
Find
awesome.
comfort in uncertainty. Because
It's
your
like
story's
a
been
pair
one
of
where
granny
you don't
panties.
know. Granny. You've even
boxes
told us
or
the style.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that though. I think that's so. It's very multi-leveled because it's what you're going through right now, but I think it's also everyone really. There's always uncertainty, right?
Yeah.
And you have to find comfort in uncertainty.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let the uncertainty give you a wedgie.
Ooh, nice.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Charlotte, for sharing your story, for being vulnerable with us. Yes, it for sure works. Thank you for
Great.
Oh my gosh, I have to repeat that because now I've cut out and I don't know what I'm saying. Okay. Thank you so much, Charlotte, for sharing your story with us, for being vulnerable, and for chatting to us tonight. It's been fun.
It's been so cool.
My pleasure. C'était un plaisir.
Fantastic.
All of those French lessons are doing you so well.
And so we're going to finish it there. Thank you so much for listening, listener. It's been awesome. If you liked this episode, tell a friend about it and subscribe and all those call to actions.
Yes, everything that's in the show notes.
Everything's in the show notes.
Awesome.
See you next time.
Bye.